Holmes, for heaven's sake, whatever's going on?
Hello, Watson. You're early. Did you kill all of your patients?
What? Holmes, where have all these wretched bees come from?
I increased the temperature of the room so as to prevent them from hibernating. I needed to take a sample of honey. But it worked, Watson. We will have honey all year round.
Ridiculous and dangerous.
They're domestic bees, Apis mellifera, such industrious workers. Anyway, Watson, I am sorry, but I must leave you. I'm in rather a hurry.
You have a new case?
Yes, but nothing as thrilling as this experiment. A theft of plants at the Royal Botanic Gardens in Kew. I'm helping a minister who's an old friend of mine. You can join me if you like.
Well, I'll admit that I'd far rather accompany you than remain alone here with these workers of yours. Besides, you'll need a helping hand with the flowers you're intending to bring back.
Watson, however did you guess?
For the great Sherlock Holmes to bother with the theft of plants. Come on, admit that you're planning to spoil your little bees with some rare pollens.
야, 왓슨도 이제는 뭐 척하면 척이네.
Since when did I become so transparent? Let us go.
가볼까요? 다음 사건으로 큐 왕립 식물원에서 열린 전시회 당시 도둑맞은 식물을 찾으십시오.
Well, Holmes, here we are at the Royal Botanic Gardens. There's no doubt that this place is beautiful. But are you really intent on investigating the theft of the plants?
Yes, of course.
뭐야? 왔구만.
Don't touch anything else, is that clear? Just go and get a bucket of fertilizer. And without turning it over this time. Good day to you, gentlemen. How may I help you? If you are here for a visit, please do come back on Sunday.
I am afraid that it cannot wait. My name is Sherlock Holmes, and this is my friend and colleague, Dr. Watson. We are investigating the theft of plants that took place here 5 days ago. A remarkable collection, I believe.
So you're the one in charge, eh?
A small favour for a friend. Now, to whom do I have the pleasure of speaking?
I am Martin Hamish. I am the Deputy Director of Kew Gardens. And that fellow yonder is Albert. He works here.
I am delighted to meet you. What can you tell us about the plants?
They were rare and exceptional plants. We presented them at our last exhibition. We haven't removed the stand yet. It is still in the large glass house. We only learned of their disappearance the evening after the exhibition, and nobody saw anything.
No doors were forced?
No, but I would imagine that for a thief it would be fairly easy to gain entry, for there are no guards here.
Well, if you don't mind, we will take a look. Now, you say that it is in the large glass house.
Yes, the one just behind me. Just a second, since Albert has nothing else to do. Albert, show these gentlemen where the exhibition was held.
How many people work here?
Only myself, but occasionally 2 students, Albert, whom you have met, and Miss White.
여자분이 한 분 더 있네. 일하는 사람이.
Here it is. This is the place where the stolen plants were exhibited.
Thank you. Is there something the matter?
Yes, there is. All right, the plants were valuable and rare, but it seems to me that the tragedy that took place here only 2 days ago has been entirely forgotten already.
이거?
What tragedy are you referring to?
The director of Kew Gardens, Mr. Montague Dunn, he died here just 2 days ago.
We're very sorry. We were not aware. The two of you were good friends?
He was my father.
Oh dear. Our condolences. We should not be troubling you. Please do excuse us for the intrusion.
You say that he died here, in the large glass house?
Holmes?
Yes, just here, near the door to the colonial collection. He suffered a heart attack. Just like that. So suddenly. It was terrible. Excuse me, gentlemen, but I cannot remain here. If you need me, I'll be in the reserve. That's the room next to the front of the large greenhouse.
Of course, we understand.
뭔가 이상한데. 여기 있던 식물이 없어졌다.
The plants were here. All of them was stolen.
Do not touch.
따라오나? 식물 일람.
Here is a list of the stolen plants.
서재. 왕립 식물에 전시되었다가 도둑 맞은 희귀 식물 일람. 서재에서 확인을 하자. 어떤 건지. 물.
These trees, with their roots in water, must originate from Louisiana.
Ah, yes, the bayou. I remember our visit in the case of the Awakened.
뭐지 저렇게 해놓으면 안 썩나?
According to Albert, this is where his father, Montague Dunn, was found dead.
파편?
Fragments of a flower pot. It fell down here. Soil. It should have come from a flower pot. Soil. It should have come from a flower pot. This pot was broken fairly recently. A flower pot recently fell down from these shelves and was misplaced.
발자국.
The traces are thinner in some places. These boot marks are fresh. It appears as though someone was dragging their feet. The footprints reveal that someone staggered here.
쓰러졌다.
This sign is broken. Something heavy was dropped upon it. Blood. Someone fell violently against this sign, and they were injured in the clash. Most likely a head wound.
갖다 때린 거 아이가?
The door was smashed at shoulder height. This door handle is new. It was recently changed. The esconson was breached near the handle.
억지로 열었구만.
The door was forced from the inside of the Colonial Collection Room. The handle was changed afterwards.
I think we need to inspect the Colonial Collection.
All the clues around here are quite suspicious. I need my imagination to make sense of it all. This reconstruction reveals a disturbing fact. Montague Dunn damaged the door of the Colonial Collection Room.
He was in a panic, or the door was locked. Was it an accident, or a murder then, I wonder? I think we need to inspect the Colonial Collection Room.
Colonial Collection.
Very strange. Half of the colonial collection is absent.
아 이게 식물원인데.
These plants come from all the territories of the British Empire.
브리티시 인디아 뭐 싱가포르 뭐 이런 게 있네. 근데 반이 없다.
The smell is strong. It is a detergent.
세정제. 반짝이는 돈? 뭐지?
This broken fragment was the result of a heavy blow. A fragment of marble, most likely chipped from a statue or sculpture.
대리석, 석상에서.
This is one of the outlets of the ventilation system. These windows were perfectly cleaned. Part of this greenhouse was emptied and thoroughly cleaned.
뭔가 이상한데요. 식민지 식물관에 갇혀 있었다. 뭔가 이상하다 이게. 몬테규 던의 시체를 보고 마라. 문을 억지로 연. 식민지 서재. 일단 서재로 갑시다. 서재 갔다가 부검하러 갑시다. 희귀 식물이 뭔지, 이 죽음과 연관이 있는 건지, 뭔가 뭔가 독성 가스로 인한 식물 역사사전, 역사, 약화, 생체화학, 식물학, 희귀식물. 해당 식물들은 공통적으로 독성을 띠며 그 정도는 각각 다르다. 다이오니아 카니보로스, 카를리나 이네브, 플로렘 디아볼리카. 다 독성 식물이네? 처음 언급한 세 종류의 식물은 인체에 치명적이며 특히 플로렘 디아볼리카 는 특정 조건을 만족해야 된다. 주변의 공격적인 반응에 대항하는 경우 맹독 표자를 뿜어내는 것이다.
Here it is.
그래서 막 누가 문을 잠궜고 그래서 문을 부수다가 그렇게 됐구나. 요 3종 특정한 화학적 비료를 통한 자연스러운 자극과 영양 공급이 필요하다. 애벌레를 이용해야 된다. 맹독을 발현시키려면 영양 공급, 자극과 영양 공급, 애벌레. 일단 부검하러 가보죠. 그럼 독에 노출이 됐겠구만. 아, 이거 뭔가 사건의 냄새가 나는데요.
I asked Inspector Lestrade to take Montague Dunn's body to Scotland Yard.
It's ready for autopsy then.
가봅시다. 왓슨군. 일단 소지품.
This watch is of great value. A beautiful feather pen of a good make.
명함.
A membership card for the London Crest Club.
런던 크레스트. 웨인 일가. 웨인? 브루스 웨인? 인쇄 업소의 소유주. 안녕하십니까. 큐 왕립 식물원에서 개최하는 전시회 홍보용 벽보는 훌륭했습니다. 허나 전 직원을 언급할 필요는 없지 않겠습니까? 제 이름만 표기해 주십시오. 아이 뭐야, 그냥 같이 좀 하지. 뭔가 약간 좀 그런 면도 있네. 내 이름만 쓰면 되지 왜 다른 직원까지 이름 했냐 이거네.
First of all, let us carry out an external examination.
체외 부검.
There are no suspicious marks upon the chest. Let us finish our external examination, so that we can proceed with the autopsy.
왜 합니까?
No redness, stings, or bruises.
병들진 않았고.
There is an injury to the skull, most probably caused by the fall in the water lily greenhouse.
울타리에 머리 부딪힌 거
The
넘어지면서.
air from the lungs carries a faint floral aroma.
꽃향기가 난다고요?
The vessels and the pupil of the eye appear quite normal.
흉부는 됐고. 왼손.
Nothing suspicious here.
아이고 이거 부은 줄 알았는데.
Now, let us examine the internal organs.
그러죠. 심실.
The heart's blood vessels show no pathological signs. The heart tissue shows no visible pathological signs.
심장은 괜찮고. 간.
The liver is enlarged. It would seem that he was suffering from an alcohol addiction.
알코올 중독.
The liver tissue is brown. There are no visible pathological signs.
위.
The stomach tissues show no visible pathological signs. There is a small amount of content. It appears that he breakfasted lightly, only a short while before his death.
폐에 뭐가 있겠지.
The lungs are congested and edematous. The tissue on the inferior lobe of the right lung is damaged, most probably caused by toxins from an unknown plant. My suspicions have been substantiated. Montague Dunn, the director of Kew Gardens, died from poisoning, plant poisoning to be more exact.
You mean
Yes, it is murder.
we should inform Lestrade?
Yes, but do remember, Watson, that I discovered the murder. The challenge is mine.
The challenge, Holmes?
We need to locate that deadly plant. Such a perfect murder appeals to me.
Murder of any kind appeals to you. Is that all we need to do?
No, we also have the people working at Kew Gardens. Martin Hamish and the son of the victim, Albert Dunn.
And also Miss White, of whom we spoke with Mr. Hamish. Should we bring them all here for interrogation?
No. A few innocuous questions at Kew will suffice, as well as a discreet delve into their personal affairs. Yes, Watson, it is time now to open the doors.
Even those in the staff building? I suppose that is necessary.
We should also be concerned with the victim himself. After all, we don't know very much about Montague Dunn.
You're enjoying this already, aren't you?
More than a little.
정보를 모아라. 중독사. 오케이. 도둑과 살해범. 정보를 그럼 다시 뭐 가야 되겠구만. 인물의 탐문 수사를 해야지. 왜 이렇게 오래 걸립니까? 일단 인물부터. 값싼 근시용 안경. 더럽혀진 옷기. 미혼? 정원사의 손.
Mr. Hamish, can you explain to us what happened to the colonial collection? It seems somewhat depleted.
But, most likely maintenance work, tidying up.
You're not sure, then? But you're the deputy director.
Well, I am busy. I cannot be everywhere at once.
사성은 모르는구만.
Albert told us about the tragic death of Mr. Dunn, the late director of Kew Gardens.
Tragic indeed. His heart attack was quite unexpected.
Tell me, Mr. Hamish, do you grow the more deadly variety of plant here?
You mean insectivorous? Yes, but nothing larger than that.
모르네 아예 뭐 그냥 지식이
As
없나?
deputy director, how was your relationship with Montague Dunn?
To be honest with you, Mr. Holmes, it could have been better. You see, every Tuesday he would carry out his inspection of the gardens, but it was solely to make an impression, great pretense that he cared at all. He would give out absurd orders, ignoring anyone else's opinion. He would then disappear for the rest of the week. He was what some might call a man of action. I'd say rather he was overzealous and chaotic. So after all, it was no wonder, perhaps, that he ended up like that, if you take into consideration his kind of lifestyle.
You mentioned that Mr. Dunn led a particular lifestyle.
Well, it's no secret that he enjoyed, celebrating, shall we say. He was a member of the London Smart Set. He was famous for it. That and
무슨 크레스트
And
뭐
he
클럽
had an eye for the ladies, to put it
사람이었죠?
mildly, Mr. Holmes.
여성 편력?
Thank you, Mr. Hamish. We shall continue our investigation.
간 어딨노? 화이트.
Can I help you, gentlemen?
일단 대화부터 하자. 충혈된 눈, 눈물 흘린 비통에 잠긴 상태. 면도하다가 난 상처. 손? 깨끗한 손.
We noticed that a part of the colonial collection has been cleared.
Ah, at the moment I'm just dealing with the storage room. I don't know much about the other rooms.
모른다.
I imagine that your relationship with your father may have been a strained one.
Yes. I cannot say that he was a kind man, for he never listened to me at all. He forced me to work here. But now, after his death, I've been pondering it over. Perhaps he wasn't so wrong about me after all. I have to follow his path, and I have to manage Kew Gardens. And I can do it. I can be as good as any other who works here.
Do you work here?
Yes, but part-time only, for I'm also studying botany at the University of London.
You're following in your father's footsteps, then. That is commendable.
식물학 수업.
Well, even if botany is not my strongest suit, there are people who say that I could be a good manager.
소질이 없어?
Who is Miss Margaret White?
Ah, she is the young lady who studies with me. She visits here sometimes to help out with the greenhouses. In
온실일을
fact, she should be here
도왔다고?
today. She wanted to work at the seed house. That's the small greenhouse across from the large glass house.
종자 보관실에서 마틴 해미시?
Would you please tell us about Martin Hamish, the deputy director?
Well, I have to tell you that Mr. Hamish is not and has never been the deputy director of Kew Gardens. My father would not have tolerated it.
Indeed? That is most interesting. He told us that he was.
Yes, because he believes that the management should be passed down to him now that my father is dead. But in actual fact, Mr. Hamish only has the honour of being the garden's longest-serving employee. In fact, if we are to think logically at all, it should be me who takes over the management of Kew Gardens.
Do you not have a good relationship with Mr.
지금
Hamish?
뭐 아무것도 모르면서 무서워, 씨.
But we have very little in common. Mr. Hamish loves his plants and Kew Gardens, and I cannot say that I share his passion.
I see. And how was his relationship with your father?
Oh, he hated my father. It was obvious. He would be furious whenever my father boasted of Kew Gardens in the newspapers or at conferences. He was convinced that my father was stealing all of the credit for himself. That my father treated Mr. Hamish in the same way as he treated anyone. Dismissively. With indifference.
Thank you, young man. We shall see you again soon.
종자 보관실로 가자. 뭐지? 온실
According to this, they have light and moisture control in some parts of the building.
건물 바다 있다. 조절하는 장치가.
According to this, they have light and moisture control in some parts of the building.
알았다. 종자 보관실? 저긴가? 똑같은 얘기겠지?
Dry tropics.
열대 식물관.
According to this, these flower pots are beautiful. They are intended to be used for exhibition purposes. The symbol is not from Kew Gardens.
큐 가든 게 아니다.
Dry tropics.
저런 걸로 부원장이 돈 벌었나? 뭐지? 아무것도 없어?
There is a smell of burning.
구덩이, 화분.
The symbol is not from Kew Gardens. The remains of a picture frame.
방독면?
A protective mask. Someone set it alight, but it did not burn. A broom handle was half burned.
빗자루.
The plants were set alight fairly recently. Some have not completely burned. A door handle? Why would anyone throw such a thing in the fire? The door handle to the colonial collection and that of the fireplace are made of the same material.
지문 때문인가? 누가 이거 태운 거야? 종자 어딨냐, 종자. 화이트.
Look, Holmes, this charming lady must be Miss White. She's entering the seed house.
그렇구만.
Colonial collection. Seed house. Ventilation system.
환기 시스템 저기 있네.
Dry tropics. Farmhouse. Director's office, cloakroom, and laboratory. Nursery. Water lily greenhouse.
종자 가볼까? 일단 본 김에.
Locked.
아 여기다.
Open.
여기네 종자.
Good day to you, miss. You have some very beautiful plants here.
Why, thank you, sir. And good day to you, too. But
Oh, I do beg your pardon. My name is Dr. John Watson. This is my good friend, Mr. Sherlock Holmes.
I am honored to make your acquaintance, gentlemen. My name is Margaret White. Excuse me, but are you Sherlock Holmes, the great detective?
Yes, I am he.
What a pleasure to see you here at Kew Gardens. Are you working on a case?
값비싼 향수. 응? 손 뭐야? 헬레브라 병력? 가난한 집안? 가난한 집안인데 왜 값비싼 향수야? 어? 뭐지? 얼로 가 이가? 뭐냐? 뭐 없는데? 어? 아씨.
Yes, a theft of plants that took place here a few days ago after their most recent exhibition.
Oh, yes, of course. I quite forgot about that.
잊어버리고 있었다고요?
Oh, it's quite understandable that you might forget about the theft of the plants, miss, after the tragedy that took place here.
Yes. The director was a truly good man. It is such a terrible misfortune.
Do you work here?
Part-time only. I am a biology student at the London University. I attend the same classes as the son of Mr. Montague Dunn. That is how I found my chance to work here for part of my thesis, you see. It is a great honor.
Most of the doors in Kew Gardens are locked. Do you have a key to this room?
Oh, yes. Albert gave me a set of duplicate keys. He agreed I might carry out my studies without disturbing him. It is only temporary.
How well did you know Mr. Montague Dunn?
He was a master, a great leader. I saw him almost as a spiritual father.
He had an exceptional nature?
Oh yes, indeed. He was always so active and so optimistic, and very nice to me. Although he could behave harshly towards his son.
Why so?
He loved his son dearly and wanted the very best for him. It made him extremely demanding. Albert, who is naturally shy, suffered because of it.
Would you happen to know why part of the colonial collection was cleared?
No, I have never been there.
가본 적이
Thank you,
없다.
miss.
다 모른다고
None
하네?
of the 3 people who work at Kew Gardens know why half of the colonial collection was cleared.
그러니까.
So, someone is lying. It is obvious.
다 모른다라. 식물아.
From here, we are unable to see the interior of the colonial collection room. Materials for college study. They belong to Albert.
알버트 거라고 돼 있네. 이름이 써 있네.
These leather gloves are new and of good quality. They do not appear to have been used. This place serves as Albert's office.
알버트 오피스가 여기 종자 그거라고?
A book about ships. Nothing at all to do with plants.
뭐냐? 응? 이게 다야? 딴 데 가봐야 되겠네. 아, 여기가 정자네. 시드하우스.
A ventilation system. It should regulate the temperature of the staff buildings.
근데 저기하고 요 바로 여기라고? 이 단가? 볼게. 이게 다다. 환기장 키가 여기 있고. 자, 다시 한번 봅시다. 시드하우스. 아, 지금 요렇게 있고 우리가 여기서 있구나. You are here. 아, 열대. 여기서 지금 뭔가 독성에 해서 이러고 나오다가 알버트 던이라는 사람이 여기 쓰러지면서 돌아가셨다. 사무처 시드하우스. 이게 묘목장 사무처 이렇게 돼 있네. 저희가 묘목장. 근데 잠겨 있었지 않았나, 묘목장은?
Nursery.
묘목장.
Locked.
여긴 잠겨 있고. 그 다음에 이쪽 쭉 가면 사무처. 창문 이런 게 있나?
nursery. Locked.
그리고 이쪽이 사무처다.
Locked.
냉동식물? 신성? 다르네. 화분이 지금 두 개 다 다른 거네. 일단 집에 한번 갑시다. 서재 확인하러. 이거는 그 불타던 데에 있던 거고, 이거는 그냥 여기 놓여 있던 거. 보자. 부서진. Q 상형 문자는 신성. 신성. 백과사전?
That is not the one I need. That is not the one I need.
이게 아닌가? 신성이라.
That is not the one I need.
이거 아니구만. 신성 연구회 논란 대상.
That is not the one I need.
이거 아니요?
That is not the one I need.
아이다라. 이것도 아이라고 했지.
That is not the one I need. That is not the one I need.
무서.
That is not the one I need. That is not the one I need.
여기 있네. 이거구나. 식물 숭배를 도모하는 학술적 신성 연구회. 해당 단체의 조직원들은 위대한 존재 트레완을 숭배한다. 그들은 정신적인 안정을 얻고 물질주의에서 벗어나는데 가치를 두고 있으며 그 때문에 기부 문화가 활성화되어 있다. 식물 숭배를 도모하는 학술적 신성 연구회.
Here it is. The Divine Syndicate is not a supplier to Kew Gardens. Besides, there is no address here.
요거는 S 원예? 이거네. 세이모 원예 용품점. 원예 연구 공급처. 본 업체는 목처즈 및 정원 살림에 필요한 물품들을 판매하는 전문 공급처. 모래, 토양, 뿌리 덮개, 화분을 비롯한 물품들을 폭넓게 공급하고 있다. 런던 블러튼 3번 가. 여길 가야 되겠구만.
Here it is.
트리완 신성 연구회. 다시 가봅시다. 지분금을 수색하면 어떻게 돼야 돼요? 정보를 모아라. 얘기하면 되나? 그런 거 알아낸 걸로.
Mr. Hamish, can you tell us who holds the keys to the locked greenhouses?
That would be Albert, Mr. Dunn's son. Yes, Albert keeps all the keys, and one can only imagine why.
What do you mean?
Well, he was never interested in Kew Gardens before, and now all of a sudden he's trying to act as if he owns the place. I think he wants to take over the management here. He'd do better to leave that to me. He has no experience. No, none at all.
갑자기?
What is your opinion of Albert as a student of botany?
He's useless. I often tell him so, and I can only give him cleaning tasks. Botany is not his life's work, and his father well knew it. He was furious about it.
He was?
Oh, yes. He forced his son to work here, and he never missed an opportunity to criticize him publicly.
Are you able to elaborate on that?
Well, for example, with our last exhibition here, Mr. Dunn had Albert make a presentation speech. But then, while the lad was speaking, Mr. Dunn interrupted him, asking him difficult questions, making him look like a failure. It was with the intention of making a fool of him, Mr. Holmes.
That must have been terribly humiliating.
Yes, he was crushed, and he had to leave. Everybody was making fun of poor Albert. That is, except for Miss Margaret White, who is such a nice lady and who always takes pity on Albert.
마가렛 화이트.
You mentioned a Miss White. Would you tell us more about her?
She is a student who works here part-time. She is quite charming indeed. She possesses a great talent for botany. You should take a look at some of her experiments that she carried out in the laboratory. Ah, if only she were not so naive.
Why naive?
The way she used to flutter around Mr. Montague Dunn. And he couldn't help but be flattered by all her attention. How could an intelligent woman such as Miss White not see through his game? I can only scratch my head and wonder.
그래. 여자가 아버지를 연모했고 아들은 동창이고.
Are you aware of the Divine Syndicate?
The Divine what? Is this a joke?
No, I am quite serious.
What a ridiculous name. Anyway, I have never heard of this syndicate.
모른다.
Thank you, Mr. Hamish. We shall continue our investigation.
좋아. 약간 아들한테 약간 뭔가 이상한데 느낌이 쎄한데. 마지막에 물어봐야지.
The Divine Syndicate. Does that name mean anything to you, by any chance?
Not at all. But it is a very pretty name.
품이 있는 이름이라고?
Thank you, miss.
아, 약간 이상한데? 품이 있는 이름이라고요? 야, 아들 어디 있었지? 아씨, 이렇게 멀리 있었나? 어? 아, 여기 있네.
Tell me, have you ever heard of the Divine Syndicate?
No, I cannot say that I have.
Do you hold the keys to all of these locked doors?
Yes, you can have them. But I cannot give you the keys to the cloakroom. The employees' effects are private. I am sure you understand.
Thank you, young man. We shall see you again soon.
이런가? 또 자꾸 아버지를 연모하고 나름대로 능력도 있는 여자 동창, 하지만 아들이란 이유만으로 치켜 세워주는 그걸 보고 뭔가 질투를 느꼈다든지. 불키가 담은 유리병조가
There was a bottle here. It left behind a trace of the substance that pervaded the laboratory.
Gold dust? Good heavens. What's it doing here?
The gold is almost immune to chemical attacks, so it may be a valuable auxiliary for various experiments.
But why would anyone perform such experiments in a botanical garden?
Several drops of the substance were spilled. Someone carried this bottle around. Several drops of the substance were spilled. Someone carried this bottle around. The bottle is no longer here, but it is possible to detect a faint scent. We need a good nose.
토비를 데려와라. 또 뭐 볼 거 있나 여기? 혹시?
This is a table for experiments. It resembles my own.
Only this one is kept in good order, Holmes.
아, 집에 가지 말고 여기서 실험하라고? 그런 거야? 보호 장비도 있네.
Such masks are generally worn when dealing with toxic chemicals. Gloves, waterproof aprons, everything one might need for self-protection.
Do they grow dangerous plants here?
근데
It
없네.
appears as though the protective equipment is missing from here.
태웠구만. 대학 교과서?
A botany book. This student's book belongs to Albert.
식물학 교과서.
Locked.
아, 여긴
Holmes, Albert Dunn didn't give us the key to this door.
It does not matter. We will open it.
쉽네, 쉬워. 뭐죠? 아, 이거구나. 넣고. 잠깐만. 잠깐만요. 아닌데. 오케이. 아, 이건 안 움직이는 거구나. 됐다. Yes.
Open.
마가렛
Miss
화이트.
White's locker.
보석함.
These jewels must be worth a small fortune.
가난하지 않았나?
A vanity purse. It is of high quality.
명품. 마가렛에게 편지를 받고 놀랐단다. 우리와 연락을 끊고 살아간 지도 수년이 지났는데 돈을 달라고 말할 생각이 들더냐? 대학에서 어떻게 지내는지조차 알 길이 없었건만 이제 와서 우리 도움이 필요하다고 내 친구들처럼 상류층 집안이 아니었던 가족을 부끄러워했던 게 아니었더냐. 우리들이 대단할 것 없는 사람들이면 맞다만 집안에서만큼 가족을 최우선으로 생각해도 되지 않았느냐. 우리들은 네 상사인 몬테규 던씨에게 알랑거릴 만큼 호락호락한 사람들이 아니란다. 부탁은 거절하마. 마가렛. 결국 전부 네가 자초한 일이구나. 이만 줄이마. 호호.
A draft of the letter that Miss White sent to her parents.
초안 부모님께 떨리는 펜끝을 주체하지 못하고 이렇게 편지를 씁니다. 학비와 임대료가 생각했던 것 이상으로 비싸기만 하네요. 혼자 힘으로는 오래 버틸 수 없을 것 같아요. 과거에 서로 다툼이 있었던 건 사실이지만 학비 때문에 학업을 포기해야 하는 딸자식을 가만 놔둘 만큼 매정하시진 않으셨겠죠, 마가렛. 수료증?
Apparently, Miss White is a capable student.
수료증. 마가렛 양에게 최근 들어 재정적인 문제 때문에 심려가 크시다고 들었습니다. 제가 봉착한 문제를 해결할 수 있게 도와드리겠습니다. 저는 부유한 집안 출신이니 큰 부담은 느끼지 않으셨으면 합니다. 언제나 그대의 편인 알버트가 짝사랑 했구만.
Martin Hamish's locker.
사진.
Father and I. Kew Gardens. Martin Hamish studied chemistry. Interesting.
서기장님께 큐 왕립 식물원에서 벌어진 일련의 사건들을 수습하려면 서기장님께서 경영권 인계 협의서를 갱신해 주셔야 합니다. 일전에도 말씀드렸다시피 저야말로 관리직에 어울리는 사람이지 않습니까? 몬테규 던씨가 살아있을 무렵에는 제가 무리하게 요구했던 사실은 인정합니다. 정당한 선택이셨고 결국 저 역시 기꺼이 따랐죠. 허나 현재 식물원은 엉망이 되어버린 상태입니다. 이리 놔둘 수는 없는 노릇 아닙니까? 책임감조차 없는 이들의 손에 식물원을 맡겨둬서야 되겠습니까? 해당 업무를 기꺼운 마음으로 수행할 테니 최대한 빨리 결정을 내려주셨으면 합니다. 좋은 소식이 들려왔으면 좋겠습니다.
A review on rare and exotic plants. Martin Hamish has written several pieces.
희귀식물학. 와, 이러면 또 씨. 알버트는 그냥 바본가? 어?
Albert's locker. Specialist articles on shipyards and ship construction. Albert Dunn has a great passion for shipbuilding and the sea.
뭣도 모르는 아였구만, 그냥.
A rejection letter from the British Royal Naval College.
불합격. 입학 시험에서 훌륭한 성적을 거뒀음에도 불구하고 영국 해군 사관학교에 진학할 수 없게 돼서 안타깝게 생각합니다. 부친이신 몬테그 던씨께서 큐 왕립 식물원의 관리직을 맡기고 싶다는 의사를 표명하셨습니다. 해군 훈련 과정을 수료하게 활용할 생각이 없으신 모양입니다. 큐 왕립 식물원에서 훌륭하게 가업을 이어나가시길 바랍니다. 진심을 담아 J.M. 르마르샹 해군 사관학교 신병 모집소 담당자. 요거 이거.
A picture of Miss White and Albert in front of the University of London.
And they seem to get along.
해군 가고 싶어 했고. 됐나 이건? 이건 신문. 일단 토비를 데려옵시다. 토비를 데려와서 이제 냄새부터 저걸 확인하고 병에 그 다음에 사람들하고 얘기하면서 신문을 해보자고요. 토비 가자. 밥값 할 때다. 생식도 줄게.
Come on, Toby. We have some work for you to do. Let us go to Kew Gardens.
생닭이나 건조시킨 그 캥거루 꼬리나 이런 거 줄게. 가자꾸나. 일하러 가자꾸나. 밥값 해. 아우, 걔도 같이 있는데 담배 막 피고. 아. 멀어서 한참 걸리네.
Let us take Toby to the laboratory. He will pick up the scent of this mysterious substance. Search, Toby. Search.
야방 연애? 응? 뭐야?
Congratulations, Toby. Now let us see what you have found. This is the bottle that was used in the laboratory. It was buried here.
뭐냐?
There is still some liquid remaining in the bottle, with gold flakes. A tiny caterpillar. Not surprising to see one in a garden, but at the bottom of a bottle.
애벌레하고 그거 독성 나오게 할 때 애벌레도 필요했잖아. 저기도 지금 그거 가능하죠. 여기서 안 되면 또 집 가야 되는데 톱이 데려다 놓으러.
This is a table for experiments. It resembles my own.
집에 가야 되네. 일단 톱이 데려다 주고 바꿔 했으니 일단 확인을 하고 신문을 해야겠죠?
Let us determine just what we have found here. Let us pour liquid from the bottle into a test tube to perform an analysis. This is the bottle that we found hidden at Kew Gardens. Let us use a pipette to take a sample of the liquid and fill a test tube.
피펫으로 그리고
A colorless, water-based liquid. Quite a strong floral aroma.
Holmes,
어!
what are you doing?
It has a bitter taste.
What if it's poisonous?
Did you ever see poison stored in enormous jars like that? Anyway, there is a doctor nearby.
아,
So what do you think it is?
It is some kind of organic compound. Let us vaporize the liquid and see what happens.
마시진 않았네. 다. 어?
Small colorless crystals. Colorless, tiny crystals that are soluble in water, with a floral smell and a bitter taste. Watson, could you pass me that small bottle, please?
Of course. Here you are. Holmes, do you know what it is?
Wagner's reagent. There was a label on the bottle that you passed to me.
No, Holmes, I meant the bottle that we found.
Let me add the reagent and see if there is any sediment, and then I shall tell you.
시약을 넣어서
Red sediment, just as I suspected. This liquid is of organic origin. It contains some alkaloid. Most likely it is unstable, and that is why there is a quantity of gold dust to prevent contamination. This mixture is probably a fertilizer. Someone was carrying out unusual experiments in the garden's laboratory.
만병통치약? 뭐야 만병통치약? 일단 돌아가 봅시다. 누가 그런 약을? 아, 아버지가 알버트 던이란다. 몬테규 던이라는 사람, 알버트 아버지 몬테규 던이 만병통치약 연구를 한 건가? 일단 아버지와
Mr. Hamish, was someone from your family connected with Kew Gardens?
Family? No. I'm the only one with a passion for botany.
I do not think so. This photograph of you and your father at Kew Gardens suggests the opposite.
But you have no right to.
Do tell us more about your father.
He was, indeed, the greatest botanist of his time in the British Empire. He worked together with Montague Dunn until the end of his life. He brought me in at the age of 12.
Did he get on well with Mr. Dunn?
No, I couldn't say that. They expanded Kew Gardens together, that was all. And it was all my father's work. But Dunn always lived the high life.
So Mr. Dunn was not helping your father?
Oh, yes, he provided the financial support. and as far as he was concerned, that fulfilled his role. But the worst of it was, he declared himself as the master of Kew Gardens. Fame meant nothing to my father, so it was easy for Mr. Dunn to take all the credit.
Thank you, Mr. Hamish. We shall continue our investigation.
자꾸 동기가 생기는데. 아, 이거 씨. 아, 이번에 얘기하면 나오겠네.
I perceive that you are passionate about the Royal Navy.
Passionate? No, not really. I like ships, that is all.
Are you quite sure? You do not seem to be so interested in plants.
It's difficult, that's all. My future is here. It has never been about anything else.
And yet I know that the Royal Naval College rejected your application.
Ah, you truly are as clever as they say. Yes, that's correct. And in fact, my father was strongly against the idea. He did his best to ruin my plans, although I almost did succeed. But my dreams were shattered, Mr. Holmes.
아,
Thank you, young man. We shall see you again soon.
야, 동기가 조금씩 다 있네. 아, 이건 아닌데. 아, 정말. 아, 열쇠 받았지? 여기도 들어갈 수 있네.
We can see the interior of the Colonial Collection Room from this window.
이건 다 보이고.
A thesis written by Martin Hamish.
뭔 논문이야?
A glasses case. It is empty. This area serves as Martin Hamish's office.
개소리가 나냐 왜 자꾸? 감사? 어? 수료증.
An award presented to Martin Hamish for Best Grower of the Year. A master's degree diploma. It belongs to Martin Hamish.
정원사.
These young plants must be delicate if they are kept in the nursery.
별거 없네. 아, 근데 자꾸 다들 동기가 있어가지고. 아, 헷갈리네. 흉상?
It is a bust of Montague Dunn. I am curious if the marble that we found will fit this place.
불타던.
Here it is. The marble fragment that we found in the Colonial Collection Room is what they have in common. The seeds of plant species are stored here.
거기 식민지 식물학 거기 있었잖아. 다 비어져 있었던 그쪽에. 이 다야? 볼 게 없나? 나오게! 아씨! 왜 이거 자꾸 엉뚱하게 따라다니냐? 아, 쇼컷 들었네, 쇼컷.
C.
Kew Gardens is such an exciting place. Wouldn't you agree?
어? 호호.
Nursery.
아씨. 아저씨 저기 사무실 근처에 있었으니까.
There is a bust of Montague Dunn in the nursery.
A bust? Oh, that old thing. Further proof of that outrageous ego of his.
But why in that room in particular?
Oh, I don't know. It has always been there.
It is strange, because I recovered a fragment of the bust inside the Colonial Collection Room.
Really? Oh, well, so I am mistaken. It ought to have been removed during the cleanup. This room is so small.
Do you know who moved it?
I have no idea. Surely Mr. Dunn requested it. Do you have any more questions like this? Because fragments of rock are not my responsibility.
Evidently.
아 이거 씨.
Thank you, Mr. Hamish. We shall continue our investigation.
글쎄. 또 뭐 잠겨 있는 데가 있나? 저기 뭐지?
Locked.
아, 이게 사무실이구나. 샴페인.
French wine. A remarkable vintage. Champagne. Montague Dunn had good taste. Newspapers discussing Kew Gardens.
큐 새로운 식물종을 발견하다. 큐 왕립식물원 연구소는 냉기에 대한 저항력을 지닌 식물종을 포함하여 새로운 희귀 식물을 자생시키는데 성공했다고 발표했다. 또한 해당 식물을 시베리안 희귀종이라고 명명했다. 희귀 식물을 접붙이는 데 성공한 마틴 해미시는 다음 주 월요일 아침에 해당 식물종에 대한 언론 소견회를 가지기로 했다. 아. 오. 친애하는 화이트야에게 지난번 대화를 통해 자네가 큐 왕립 식물원을 떠나는 편이 좋겠다는 결론을 내렸네. 자네는 더 이상 지원이 필요 없다고 내게 직언했잖나. 어디 한번 혼자 힘으로 살아보게나. 자네에게 자유를 줄 테니 마음 내키는 대로 살길 바라네. 몬테규던. 어? 잘해줬지 않겠나? 뭐지? 나가라 그랬네? 아, 오케이 하고 탁탁 하고 2개. 아씨. 어? 3개였나? 세 개. 세 개. 세 개. 하고 4개인가? 하고 아 다섯. 아씨. 하나, 둘, 셋, 넷, 다섯. 아, 그리고 5개구나. 딱이네. 편지. 안녕하신가. 편지를 받고 실망감을 감출 수가 없었다네. 자네에게 일을 맡겼던 이유는 날 보호하기 위함이지 고발하기 위함은 아니잖나. 큐 식물원은 왕국의 비호를 받고 있네. 우리에겐 세상을 돌아보며 희귀하기 그지없는 식물종을 찾아서 보호할 의무가 있는 셈이지. 본 식물원은 터무니없는 곳에 식물을 이용하는 자들로부터 해당 식물종을 지켜내고 있다네. 신성연구회라는 조직은 희귀식물을 소유할 권리가 없는 곳일세. 1889년 6월 14일 사건을 떠올려 보게나. 그러니까 해당 식물종이 큐 왕립 식물원의 소유라는 증서를 다시 공증해 줬으면 좋겠네. 서류는 월요일에 보내도록 하지. 주심 화요일에 부들스에서 만났으면 하네. 몬테교담. 누구한테 보낸 거지? 탄원서? 몬테교던 원장에게 마지막으로 전하도록 하겠소. 빌려간 식물들을 당장 돌려놓으시오. 댁의 소유가 아닌 이상 식물원에 숨겨놓을 수 없는 노릇이지 않소. 허가를 받았다더니 떠들었던 것도 전부 거짓말이었거늘 어찌된 게 거짓부렁뿐이요. 자세히 얘기 안 해도 잘 알 거요. 1889년 6월 14일 사건 당시에도 언론에 거짓말을 뿌려댔지 않소. 혐오스럽게 그지없는 상황이요. 식물들을 잃어버리지 않았길 바라는 마음뿐이라오. 잃어버렸다면 후회를 장담할 수 없을 테니까 말이요. 신성연구회.
I suggest that we don't tell Miss Margaret White about this document.
몬테규 던에게 대출받은 마가렛 화이트 부채, 옥스퍼드가의 인실 임대료, 런던 대학교 학비 지원금, 해밀턴 은행에 신설한 추가 용자금, 재단사, 레디언 하우스 및 고급 보석상, 베어드 일가 외 다수. 아, 이거. 신성, 서재. 1889년 6월 14일. 자, 집으로 갑시다. 아, 1889년 논란의 대상이 된 신성연구회 칼리톤대로 그로브너 48가에 위치한 신성연구회는 위대한 존재 트로얀을 숭배하며 나무를 비롯한 식물의 수호자를 자처한 집단으로 최근 들어 행정조사를 받고 있다. 신성연구회의 수장들은 탈세의 혐의를 받고 있는데 사법부에서 행정조사를 명한 것도 이 때문으로 보인다. 현재 사법부의 명령에 대해서 커다란 방향이 일고 있으며 이는 정치적으로 맞서는 위치에 있음에도 불구하고 신성연구회라는 공통된 집단에 가입되어 있는 유지들의 목소리 때문인 것으로 알려졌다.
Here it is. And here is the Divine Syndicate's address. Perfect. It is time to find out what they have against Montague Dunn.
신성연구회 가보자. 비밀 관 금액을 지원했다. 이건가?
This place is beautiful, Holmes. Its atmosphere is remarkably soothing.
뭐야 이
Let
사람은?
us find someone who could help us.
태극권? 신성연구회? 중국 비밀단체인가? 이 사람 뭐 이겨야지 되나?
Good day to you, sir. My name is
I am exalting the sap. A while can you wait? From the trace of elements and moreover from the quality of the ambient geotropism it depends. Therefore, please, mind my gravitropism. Its balance, do not disturb.
Disturbed is most definitely the word.
There. Completed is the symbiosis. Welcomed you are. To introduce myself, I am the Green Grand Mystic.
the Green Grand Mystic himself.
This is me. Who am I speaking to?
We are two gentlemen who are extremely interested in the vegetation philosophy that is advocated by this establishment.
Listening to you, I am.
문신 손끝에 박힌 굳은 살 화학적 소양
We visited Kew Gardens, and we found your symbols on their flower pots.
Coincidence, I am thinking. They would scavenge our refuse. It would not surprise me.
It was merely an observation. We should like to take a look around, to immerse ourselves in the wisdom that emanates from here.
It is a school of anastomosis, the divine scholastic syndicate for vegetation veneration and meditation. You may say, the divine syndicate, glory to the eukaryotic. Only true devotees, those whose hearts are ready to spermatophize in sharing of knowledge, are permitted to physically enter our vegetable kingdom and its wisdom. And to be permitted, you must earn it, yes.
Green Grand Mystic, we are ready to become devotees. and gain access to your temple.
What is the name of our Lord, our God King?
와그로인가 보고. 와그로? 왜그로? 트루얀.
Our God King's name is Triwan, Green Grand Mystic.
Oh, la, good, I like you. Here is the holy key to the wisdom place. Holy donation can you make whenever you so wish.
Thank you so much.
I pray you to taste our fertilizer substance. From the burdens of life it helps to free.
But of course.
식물의
Raw
정수?
sap, it is
Oh.
called. It is near the entrance.
만병통치약?
Well, we will leave you to your meditation.
뭐지? 응? 저기
A fragment of a flower pot. Fragments of a flower pot. It fell down here. The Kew Gardens symbol.
뭐야? 처음에 이쪽 길이구나. 안에 누가 있다. 생물의 정수? 누가 있는데요?
That should be the raw sap that the Green Grand Mystic spoke of.
마약 아이가!
It is rather delicious, and of an excellent quality.
My word, Holmes. Their sap is like a form of cocaine.
미친! 오케이. 아이씨 누구세요?
Praise the grand tree. Praise it.
미쳤네.
This must be Triwan, the Divine Syndicate's god.
어? 그 가루가 그거였네 그러면.
This door is locked, but I can try to open it.
저 아저씨는 뭐 미쳐가지고 있으니까. 어? 이거 같고. 요거네. 이렇게 하고 어? 됐다. 이거 아편 들키는
These instruments are used for smoking opium.
미친 씨.
This substance is an alkaloid, the same as in the bottle we found in the bushes at Kew Gardens. Chemicals, a sufficient quantity for some serious experiments. That would be enough to perform the most difficult of chemical experiments.
이게 다야? 아니 별게 없네? 후원자.
The list of plant friends and benefactors, lawyers, well-known manufacturers, political leaders.
코카인이라니요. 이상하게 얘기하는 건가?
Do you have friends at Kew Gardens?
None. Not worthy there.
Nevertheless, we have seen Kew Gardens flower pots in your yard. How could they happen to be there?
What? Our sacred place you permitted yourself to search. Sacrilege.
No, really now. There was a theft of plants at Kew Gardens a matter of days ago, and we believe the pots we found here may be connected with it. Please tell us, were you involved?
No. Those plants were ours. They had stolen them from us.
How so?
Their director, Dump, I believe.
Done.
Yes, that's what I said. He borrowed from us 3 of our sisters for the exhibition at his green fly-infested gardens. But he never gave them back to us. Excuses and imbecility. So we went in and saved them.
I see. So, if you stole those rare plants from them, then it means... Ah, I get it. Bravo, Holmes. I think the case is solved.
No, we did not steal. We saved. Well, as a matter of fact, we were unable to find our 3 plants.
I beg your pardon. And yet you took all of the exotic plants from the stand.
They had disappeared. It was the least we could do. They stole our sisters, and so we stole
아, 그
theirs.
식민지 그쪽에 이사를 가져갔구나.
Well, we will leave you to your meditation.
식민지 식물을 그냥 반을 이 사람이 가져간 것 같은데. 마틴 해미씨는 몬테교던이 자신과 아버지의 삶을 망치고 공로를 가지고 채 갔다고 생각했다. 큐 왕립 식물원의 관리직을 꿈꿨던 마틴 해미씨는 몬테교던을 살려둘 수 없었다. 아, 이게 동기가 알버트의 야심. 이거 뭐가 좀 모자란다. 맹독 식물은 어디 있을까? 맹독 식물. 여기도 문인가? 아, 여기도 문이네. Do not touch.
A tropical plant. Nothing of interest. A tropical plant. Nothing of interest.
이거 맹독식물 아이가? 해볼래 우리.
Caterpillars. They are raised as food for certain plants. Let's take them.
하나 가지고.
A tropical plant. Nothing of interest. A
아주
tropical
미용.
plant. Nothing of interest.
응?
A tropical plant. Nothing of interest. A tropical plant. Nothing of interest. These 3 plants are identical to the ones shown at the exhibition. I shall take them.
야! 저렇게 가져갈 수 있나? 이건가? 중독사 실험을 진행해라.
Perfect, Watson. We can begin our experiment.
집으로 갑시다. 누굴까? 아, 이게 신상 연구에 딱 그것만 누가 소속이 있으면 딱 그것만 하면 되는데.
I imagine that one of these plants would be capable of releasing a toxic vapor. I need to find out exactly how it could be done. I shall begin now. Watson, if you are at all optimistic to have dinner this evening, then I'd recommend that you put on the gas mask.
아무리 봐도 이거 같은데?
It appears to open after being soaked with alkaloid.
애벌레.
It closed again. I believe I saw a small cloud of gas. I wonder what secrets this plant is hiding. Perhaps if we agitate it to a greater extent whilst it is opened, it will reveal a little more. This is a strange and unusual plant.
보자, 이거를 붓고
It appears to open after being soaked with alkaloid. This plant seems to have had no reaction from the caterpillars.
어?
This plant seems to have had no reaction from the caterpillars.
뭐지?
This is a strange and unusual plant.
이거 아니라고. 이걸 오물인데?
This plant becomes inactive after being drenched with alkaloid. This plant seems to have had no reaction from the caterpillars.
아, 이게 아니다.
This plant becomes inactive after being drenched with alkaloid.
어?
It closed again. I believe I saw a small cloud of gas. I wonder what secrets this plant is hiding. Perhaps if we agitate it to a greater extent whilst it is opened, it will reveal a little more.
반대로 해야 되나? 아니 야가 잡아먹으니까.
This plant seems to have had no reaction from the caterpillars. A prickly plant. A carnivorous plant.
이렇게 하면 되나?
It appears to open after being soaked with alkaloid. It closed again. I believe I saw a small cloud of gas. I wonder what secrets this plant is hiding. Perhaps if we agitate it to a greater extent whilst it is opened, it will reveal a little more.
풀 벌려둘 수 있다. 아!
No reaction. It appears to have fallen inactive after being disturbed.
어?
My word! It shot a spike at me after I stabbed it with a pin. I imagined that its reaction would be ferocious if I increased the strength of my attack. No reaction.
가만있어 봐. 그러면
It appears to open after being soaked with alkaloid. It closed again. I believe I saw a small cloud of gas. I wonder what secrets this plant is hiding. Perhaps if we agitate it to a greater extent whilst it is opened, it will reveal a little more.
그러면 이거 잠깐 이거를 하고 바늘로 이걸 찌르고
It closed again. I believe I saw a small cloud of gas. I wonder what secrets this plant is hiding. Perhaps if we agitate it to a greater extent whilst it is opened, it will reveal a little more. It appears. This plant seems to have had no reaction from the caterpillars.
아 뭐야?
This plant seems to have had no reaction from the caterpillars.
뭐지?
It closed again. I believe I saw a small cloud of gas. I wonder what secrets this plant is hiding. Perhaps if we agitate it to a greater extent whilst it is opened, it will reveal a little more. My word! It shot a spike at me after I stabbed it with a pin. I imagined that its reaction would be ferocious if I increased the strength of my attack. It appears to have fallen inactive after being disturbed.
아 이게 시간이 안 된다니까. 물을 먼저 넣는 것도 안 되고. 되네. 왜 중간에 놓으면 애벌레가 나지고 옆에 놓으면 이게 애벌레가 안 나지. 이게 뭐지? 바늘이 있는 이유가 있을 텐데.
No reaction. My. It closed again. I believe I saw a small cloud of gas. I want.
뭐야, 어떻게 하는 거지?
This plant becomes inactive after being drenched with alkaloid. This. It appears to have fallen inactive after being disturbed. I find the behavior of predators utterly fascinating. This plant seems to have had no reaction from the caterpillars. It closed again. I believe I saw a small cloud of gas. I wonder what secrets this plant is hiding. Perhaps if we agitate it to a greater extent whilst it is opened, it will reveal a little more.
와, 이게 졸라 이상하다.
This plant seems to have had no reaction from the caterpillars.
나지는데?
Toxic gas with spores. Extraordinary.
미친. 아니,
The
내가
plants would be capable of killing only if they were directly next to the victim and stimulated at precisely the right moment.
Let us take our caterpillars to the Colonial Collection Room. We may see things more clearly there.
It is too early, Watson. Our suspects will be there. Let us investigate Kew Gardens one more time and ask some questions.
빡시네, 와. 정확한 순간에 이게 자극이 가능하나? 실험 진행하기 전에 살인사건의 먼저 대화를 나누세요. 냉동식물을 자가시킬 방법. 얘기를 나눠라.
Can you tell me if you saw Mr. Montague Dunn on the day of his death?
Yes, of course. I met him, and we went to see Albert, his son, at around 9:30. He appeared quite calm.
What were you doing on the morning of the accident?
After paying multiple visits to Albert, I had a little talk with Miss White. Then I returned to my desk to complete some paperwork. Suddenly I observed that Mr. Dunn was not feeling well, so I ran immediately to fetch Albert. I clearly remember that it was around 10:30, for I was late that morning.
10시 반.
Thank you, Mr. Hamish. We shall continue our investigation. Your father's death does seem highly suspicious. What were your movements here on that day?
Suspicious. Well, I was working in the seed house, taking care of Lysa something, or Lear Pontus, or... No, wait. Ah, these Latin names. And I spent so many hours trying to memorize them.
Did you see your father that day?
Yes. He came here with Mr. Hamish for his weekly visit. There was nothing unusual about that.
And then?
Nothing. They stepped out to the backyard. It was perhaps 20 minutes before 10 o'clock. Then about 10 minutes later, I saw my father heading for the dry tropics room while Mr. Hamish returned here.
And Mr. Hamish and Miss White, what were they both doing that morning?
Mr. Hamish visited me a couple of times. I also saw him returning from talking with Miss White, and that was at 10 minutes past 10. But then he ran back here to me to tell me that my father was feeling unwell. We hurried across to the water lily room, and I found my father lying dead on the floor. Oh, my God.
Thank you, young man. We shall see you again soon.
아니지.
Seed house.
아씨.
Can you tell me what Mr. Dunn was doing upon the day of his death?
I can, but there is nothing very special to say. I was in the laboratory when I saw Mr. Dunn heading towards me. Tuesday is the day of his weekly visit. It was supposed to be at 9, but he was 10 minutes late, as usual.
And then?
Well, he came in to say good morning. Then I saw him spend 2 or 3 minutes by the plants outside the laboratory. After that, he ran out in the direction of the nursery, where Mr. Hamish was working. He was always in a rush during the inspection, you see. I would pity anyone who stood in his way.
And that was the last time you saw him?
Yes. I stayed in the laboratory until 20 minutes to 11, when I heard the cries of Albert and Mr. Hamish from the large glass house.
I joined them as soon as I could, for I knew that something must be very wrong.
What exactly were you doing in the laboratory?
I was recording an experiment for my thesis. I only stopped my work once when Mr. Hamish visited me briefly around 10 o'clock.
You say you were recording an experiment when the tragedy occurred. Might I listen to the roll?
Certainly. Please do. You will find it in the laboratory. It is number 320.
320번.
Thank you, miss.
연구실?
Everyone has gone, Holmes. The way is clear.
F? 320번? 잠깐. 연구실이 어디지? 잠깐만요.
What?
연구실? 연구실? 종잡, 뭐 320번 그 들어보라는 건 뭐야? 녹음했다고 했잖아. 창문 말고 어?
Yes, this is quite a modern laboratory.
(320번이라) 그랬는데?
Martin Hamish's perception of plants. The notion of communication in the plant world has long...
A study report by Martin Hamish.
(320번이라) 그랬는데?
Here it is.
오케이.
These plants, classified as shrubs or grasses, have adapted to their arid environment due to a system of underground roots.
This recording seems very long. It is unnecessary to listen to all of it. Miss White was in the laboratory, as she told us.
연구실에 있었다. 어?
Dry tropics.
보자. 포자를 그리고 저게 깨지고
When Montague Dunn was standing close by the plants, the caterpillars were released and caused the deadly spores to activate. Panicking, and likely already half asphyxiated, Montague Dunn started back and knocked over the bust. He rushed to the door, but it was locked. He had to force it open with his shoulder. We already know the outcome. Montague Dunn collapsed and died not far from the pool. Well, it is time to perform our experiment on the ventilation system. The caterpillars could only fall from the ventilation duct. Our caterpillars are in place. I'll activate the ventilation system so that they fall down. Watson, stay here and observe.
All right, Holmes.
세정제. 환기 시스템은 여기서.
Before starting the engine, I need to enable the power supply.
그렇군요.
The power is on. The engine cannot be started whilst the transmission is active. The engine has started. The ventilation system is working.
이렇게 가네? 이렇게 와서 아, 조절 장치?
Excellent. This ventilation fan is working. Let us see if I can activate the other one. From here, we are unable to see the interior of the Colonial Collection Room.
여기서는 못 보고.
Perfect. Now I just need to find Watson to check the result.
It works perfectly, Holmes. Bravo. Now, if you could just help me to get rid of these caterpillars.
Perfect. Now we know how the murder of Montague Dunn was carried out, by activating both Albert's and Mr. Hamish's fans.
But only from Mr. Hamish's workplace would it be possible to see when Montague Dunn entered the Colonial Collection Room.
그럼 끝인가? 잠깐. 아씨.
We can see the interior of the Colonial Collection Room from this window. A thesis written by Martin Hamish.
이거 마틴 해미시 집이 그거 사무실이 업무용이네. 마틴 해미시는 식민지 식물관에 놓여있는 맹독식물을 자각할 수 있었다. 생물학자였던 그에게 맹독식물 자각할 방법을 알고 있었을 것이다. 신성 연구회보다 먼저 맹독식물을 훔쳐갔다. 해미시의 범행이다. 마틴 해미시가 살해범일 가능성이 있다. 몬테규 던을 식민지 식물관에 가둔 다음 신성 연구의 식물을 훔치고 자신의 업무 공간에서 맹독식물을 자극할 기회가 있었기 때문이다. 희귀식물. 아, 이렇게 마가렛 화이트는 몬테규 던에게서 학비 및 생활비를 지급받고 있었다. 마가렛 화이트가 대학교에서 배운 지식만으로는 맹독식물의 정확한 반응을 이끌어내기 힘들었을 것이다. 야는 그냥 바보고. 체포하라.
Let's go to Scotland Yard.
Inspector, I believe that Martin Hamish is guilty of the murder of Montague Dunn.
Aha! I knew it. I'll send the lads around to arrest him.
Very good. I shall wait to hear from you.
금방이네. 뭐야?
Inspector, I came here as quickly as I could.
Martin Hamish is in the large glass house. There's no need to hurry.
대형 원실?
Holmes, my God!
Yes, we found him like that.
Our messing around with the ventilation system didn't go unnoticed. Mr. Hamish realized that we knew.
Inspector, could you arrange the body, please? I should like to examine it.
뭐야?
The mark around the neck is very visible. He died instantly.
Holmes, his left shoe is unique. This anomaly is often a characteristic of...
A club foot. Bravo, Watson. That is the key element of this case.
지옥 같은 삶을 살게 되었다. 견디기 힘들어진다. 몬테규 더는 죽어 마땅했지만 손에 피를 붙인 스스로를 용서할 수가 없다. 해미시 일가는 항상 비극적인 상황의 희생양일 뿐이었다. 나 역시 마찬가지다. 지금 이 자리에서 이제까지의 일을 속죄하고자 한다. 안녕히 계시길. 호호. 마틴 해미씨는 내반족으로 인한 정강이 뒤틀림 때문에 뛸 수 없었다. 식민지 식물관의 문을 잠그고 환기장치를 작동시킬 만한 여유가 부족했던 것이다. 공범이 있었던 것으로 의심된다. 가 아이가 아들 아이가 이거.
Something about this rings very oddly.
Why do you say that, Mr. Holmes?
Why? Because of Mr. Hamish's club foot. Oh, I deserve to be kicked from here to Charing Cross. I should have noticed it.
But, Mr. Holmes, I can't see why.
No, I don't suppose you do. You must recall that Mr. Dunn was locked inside the Colonial Collection Room by the murderer. If it was Mr. Hamish, he would have had to run up to his workplace to trigger the fan situated above it, taking into consideration the condition of his foot.
Well, it is still possible.
Perhaps, but it is rather strange that such a person as Mr. Hamish decided to base his plan on the speed of his gait.
You mean to say that somebody helped him?
So the suicide is questionable?
Correct. Mr. Hamish accuses only himself in his letter, and so the investigation stops.
Possibly an accomplice, then? That idea had not occurred to me, Mr. Holmes.
I have another idea, Inspector. Thanks to the testimony that we have collected, we are able to rebuild the events as they took place that day.
With a timeline, such as we did in the Jack the Ripper case?
Precisely.
The map at the entrance of Kew Gardens should help us with our timeline.
Let us analyze the facts and statements so that we may recreate the events of that morning.
9시 반. 마틴 해미씨와 몬테기도는 종자 보관실에서 알버트를 만났다. 종자 보관실에서 9시 40분경 마틴 해미씨와 몬테기도는 뒤뜰로 향했고, 그리고부터 신부는 몬테기도는 열대 식물 쪽으로 순회를 개설했고 종자 보관실로 들어왔다. 뒤뜰? 잠깐만. 뒤뜰로 향했고, 이렇게인가? 마틴 해미씨는 마가렛 화이트와 10시경에 만났다. 그녀는 10시 40분까지 실험실에 있었으며 이후 수상식물에서 해미씨와 알버트를 만났다. 10시 30분경 (10시 10분경) 아침 내내 종자 보관실에 있었고 합격했고 이렇게인가?
Let us summarize. Montague Dunn was poisoned inside the Colonial Collection Room. He forced open the door, which means that someone locked him inside there at 10:20. Martin Hamish was last seen at 10:10. This means that he has approximately 10 minutes to lock the door of the Colonial Collection Room. Given that he was club-footed, it is doubtful. Albert also has 10 minutes to lock the door of the Colonial Collection Room, which is quite enough time. Miss White was last seen at 10 o'clock, which means that she had approximately 20 minutes to lock the door. More than enough time. Perfect, Watson. Now, let us ascertain who assisted Martin Hamish in killing Montague Dunn.
이건가? 와. 잠깐만. 아씨. 근데 이거가 있기 때문에 이 마갈 화이트는 아닌 것 같고 맞는 것 같아. 알버트 던과 마틴 해미시는 몬테규 던의 살인을 공모했다. 자신의 꿈을 부정하고 망신을 주기만 했던 아버지를 견디지 못한 알버트는 살인을 통해 상황을 극복하려 했다. 알버트는 마틴 해미시가 공모하여 부친을 살해했다. 수년간 자신을 괴롭히고 해군의 꿈을 포기하게 만들었던 아버지를 견디지 못한 것이다. 냉혹한 살인마인 알버트 던은 철창 신세를 지어줘야 한다. 이거다 씨.
What happened, Inspector?
It's all over now, lad. There is no use denying it. We know that you murdered your father. Patricide by plant poisoning. Very alliterative.
What? You're mad. I didn't do it. I don't know anything about botany. No!
이거 아닌가? 식물을 잘 모른단 말이야, 근데. 다시 잠깐만. 아, 뭐가 이상한데? 공모했다고 하면 또 알 수도 있을 테기는 한데 또 아씨 마가렛 화이트 저 녹음을 딴 시간에 한 거 아이가? 자살하도록 만들었다고? 알버트 던을 이용해서 마틴 해미시를 자살하도록 만든 장본이라고? 와 미치겠다 진짜. 아 당도bom 아닌데 이게 그러면 다리가 와, 씨. 아니, 근데 그 시간에 계속 그 녹음을 하고 있었잖아. 이건 뭐 100%잖아, 그거는. 어떻게 할 수가 없는 거잖아.
What happened, Inspector?
It's all over now, lad. There is no use denying it. We know that you murdered your father. Patricide by plant poisoning. Very alliterative.
What? You're mad. I didn't do it. I don't know anything about botany. No!
와 미치겠네. 아니 여자가 솔직히 강력한 여자가 여자가 좀 막 돈도 쫓기고 그만두게 만들고 하는, 그리고 식물 관계 관련해서 지식이 높긴 한데 그 연구실에 있었다는 그것 때문에 와 이게 맞나? 이 빨간 거는 내가 아니라는 건가? 이거는 좀 졸라 헷갈리게 해놨네. 아니 그거 연구실에 그 녹음한 거 그것만 아니면 여자가 더 세긴 한데.
But Holmes, how can you be certain that we'll find Miss White here?
It is obvious, Watson. Just use your brain.
I am using it. I do use it.
Now that the rope has tightened around Martin Hamish, Miss White must act to erase all traces of her implication. After the suicide of her accomplice, there is one final trace remaining, the deadly plants of the Divine Syndicate. She will be there.
Very good. Shall we go?
Just one moment. Now listen to me, Watson. I shall see her alone. You will conceal yourself behind her, quietly.
Whatever are you planning?
Nothing spectacular. The impulses of women have always been a mystery to me. But she is a bold one, and so we must be cautious.
All right. You can count on me, Holmes.
Mr. Holmes, good day to you.
You do not seem surprised, Miss White.
Well, I was expecting you.
Not for too long, I believe. So please tell me, as it is still unclear, who planned the murder? Was it you?
You were wrong, Mr. Holmes.
It was Martin Hamish, then. You managed to convince him to take on a more prominent role.
You could not be further from the truth.
You think that you can fool me?
You don't care what I think.
It is difficult to care about someone who is capable of pushing a man to his suicide. It is over, Miss White. The police will be here any minute.
Over, perhaps. One moment you were here, and the next, you were on the other side.
The other side? No! Stop!
뭐야?
I beg you not to do this, Miss White.
Don't come any closer.
Please remain calm. We can help you.
Not one step further. Don't try to stop me.
Stop this foolishness. You cannot truly want to die.
No, it's too late.
아씨.
This is tragic, Holmes.
Are you able to do anything?
I'm afraid not. The poison has been fulgurating. Her heart stopped instantly, poor child.
못 막았어.